Well, would you look at that? A Melissa McCarthy movie that is actually tolerable, other than Spy. This is a rarity, people. Hello and welcome back to another midnight showing. As always, I'm Kelly, and I just got out of The Boss, a new Melissa McCarthy comedy movie directed by Ben Falcone, the same guy that did Tammy. Can you tell this movie wasn't very good? Yes, going into the non-spoiler version, there were some good parts about this movie. There were some legitimately funny jokes. The performance that Melissa McCarthy is giving in a much better written movie would be pretty damn funny. The problem is that this wasn't a very well written movie, and it's not a very well directed one. I'll give it credit. It is better than Tammy, but that's not saying much at all. The big problem with the movie is that it's not very funny. For a comedy, most of the jokes fall flat, and there's way too much ad-libbing going on. A lot of people are stuttering throughout the whole thing. It feels like one of my reviews when I'm not actually jump cutting the shit out of it. You know, when I'm actually just going off all like this and I'm kind of bubbling and shit, I just screwed that up. That's what a lot of the jokes in this movie feel like. I'm sorry, but it's not very entertaining to watch when you're doing that. It's one of the reasons why I'm trying to get back to doing more of the jump cuts. That and because I take more time to actually edit my videos and put pictures in them. And I'm really sorry to say that because there were some good aspects of this film. Melissa McCarthy, as I said, in a much better written film, this performance she's giving as this kind of eccentric, asshole-ish boss who actually goes through a character arc, which is so rare to see inside of these movies. You know, actually see that in another movie where she's sticking to a written script with some better sight gag jokes and actual written out things and less ad-libbing, this would be pretty funny and very engaging. I wouldn't want to make it the main star of said movie. I would probably make one of the supporting cast members, but it would actually be pretty good. Unfortunately, it's not very good here. And one of the other good things about this film was Kristen Bell as the straight woman, which is Melissa McCarthy's assistant turned partner after everything falls apart. She's could technically be played by anybody trying to do the straight woman thing, but I thought that Kristen Bell still did a pretty good job, and I want to see her in more movies, and she deserves the credit. So I'm going to give credit where credit is due. Put her in a much better film. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, other than that, there's really nothing here for me. My final verdict is an honest to God, skip it. It wasn't offensively bad, but it's not worth your time. It's not worth watching if you can see it on Netflix or some shit like that. So yeah, completely skip this one. Go see Batman v Superman or wait for the rated R cut. So for those who want to stay for spoilers, what is the plot of this movie? Well, Melissa McCarthy is an orphan turned multi-billionaire who's a self-made woman and whatnot, and then she gets canned for insider trading because she pisses off somebody. She ends up going to a white-collar jail for about 4 months, and then she's got nothing. She ends up bumming on her assistant's couch, played by Kristen Bell, and after tasting her cookies and taking her daughter to her scout troop meeting, she decides to turn brownie sales into an empire and start building herself up again. And a quick little side note, I would just like to point out that the business model that they're actually showing in this movie would actually fucking work. I'm not even kidding you. You know, scouts always tell you, oh, they look good on resumes, you know, all the badges and projects you're earning. No. You want to know what you get out of this? You get commission off of everything that you sell, and it gets put into a college fund for you. Actual money. These little kids are making more fucking money than I did. And I made it up to like a star, life, or whatever inside of Scouts. I don't know. I never made Eagle, but I was pretty damn close. I'm just saying, really, these little girls are getting more out of that than I did? Shit. But yeah, this business model that she comes up with is very successful in the film, and it would be in real life. I am not even kidding you. It's a good product. It's a good incentive for the kids. The parents would definitely put their kids into this program. I mean, gets them money for college. Even if they're not making that much, I'm sure that if they stick with it for a few years, like everybody in Scouts does, yeah, that could be a pretty penny to use along the way. But unfortunately, the evildoer of this movie, because heaven forbid this just be a comedy about a woman learning to care about other people and, fucking making a business. No, we gotta have a bad guy. Played by Peter Dinklage. He is not happy that sending her to jail didn't destroy her. So now he's trying to destroy the business. And that's basically the plot of the movie. You've seen this movie 1,000 times over. You know every plot point for plot point. But the problem is that the movie doesn't seem to want to focus on any of those one plot points. This movie jumps around so much that it's really hard to peg it as any one type of comedy. Is it a slice of life, just somebody trying to rebuild their life type thing? No. Is it an action comedy with a heist spin on it? Well, it is for the last 30 minutes of the movie, but I don't get it. Where is this coming from? The movie starts out very, very realistic, and then by the end of it, we have a little person engaged in a sword fight with an overweight comedic actor who's throwing nunchucks, bow staffs, and freaking kenpo sticks at each other. I'm sorry. What the hell happened? You might be thinking, oh, well, it's so crazy, it's hilarious. No, it's unbalanced. If it was batshit like the end of this film from the very get-go, we probably wouldn't have a problem with it being so batshit at the end. The problem is that the movie sets itself up like it's going to be very realistic. It's about this hard-ass woman who's more than willing to, kick someone's teeth in to get her way. And they're more willing to get that, this realistic vibe for it, and then all of a sudden it just swings into cartoon territory with Peter Dinklage and this woman, mother, who's just like evil Stanford mom. I don't even get this. Needless to say, the movie is just unfocused and not very funny because it's all ad-libbed, which there really isn't much to say there because, frankly speaking, you can tell this is all ad-libbed. Occasionally they'll say something funny in the ad-libs, but much like Daddy's Home, because the director didn't know how to say cut, or maybe, hey, let's reshoot it with that joke inside of there so it's nice and flowing. No. Let's just let them mumble for God knows 20, 30 minutes here and just beat this one semi funny Chuck-worthy joke into the ground. Directors need to know in comedies when to say cut. And when they're editing their movies, they need to know when to cut out the filler. I do it all the time. You don't see all of my stupid breaths and jumps back and forth. Cut your film. Come on, guys. Okay, let's get off the negatives for a second. There were a couple of funny moments inside of this movie. Even if I saw these jokes in other films, I will say they were done better in this one than, say, in Vacation. Like the mock fight thing. I know that a lot of you drank your way out of forgetting the Vacation movie, but for those who didn't, there was a scene at the very end of that movie where they're finally getting to the theme park, they're about to get on a roller coaster, and they meet up with the evil anti-Griswold family, and they end up starting a fight with their little slow-mo fighting crap. It was stupid, it was pointless, and we all wanted to go home at that point. This movie does something very similar with Melissa McCarthy's troupe as they start out, meeting the evil troupe led by said cartoon mom who admittedly gets a couple of funny moments in this section where they are beating the living shit out of her. But they meet him on the street and they start a turf war and the troops just start going at it. It's a little bit funnier here than it is in Vacation because, for one, it's near the end of the first third of the movie, about the end of the first act, and that's a much better place to put something like that. And the mock fighting, they actually did a little bit better because we're not just focusing on, just a small group of people beating it out. We're focusing on this big old gigantic brawl, and we're just occasionally cutting to these different groups doing different things that are pretty funny. I'm kind of reminded of that big Anchor War brawl inside of Anchorman. Think that, but with scouts. And it's not as funny as it was in Anchorman. But inside of this, I will say that was funnier than Vacation, and it got a good chuckle out of me, especially when Melissa McCarthy actually makes good on one of her threat promises, where she literally takes a box of the Girl Scout cookies and shoves it up the cartoon girl's ass. The cartoon mother. I say girl. Sorry. I honestly didn't think they were going to do that, and that was just a funny threat when she was just inside of the troop meeting, and the cartoon woman kept calling her out because, that's a convicted felon! Seriously, if that's your worst argument as to why this highly successful businesswoman isn't allowed to bring her assistants, or I guess living partner's daughter to the meeting, then I'm sorry, you have no argument there. She didn't commit murder. She committed insider trading. That's like lowest grade of low grade white collar crimes. Come on. But yeah, they get in a fight earlier in the movie inside of there, and Melissa McCarthy actually does like come in really close and just says, I will shove a box of those cookies up your ass. And then later in this actual fight scene, she does take the box of cookies and start shoving them up her ass. I didn't think you would actually make good on that threat, and it's kind of humorous. They beat it into the ground by making it a lot longer than it should be. It should have been more of a quick cut where we see her get the box of cookies and then go down without actually seeing her take the cookies and shove them. But, you know, I'll take credit where credit is, and that got a chuckle out of me. And that is a lot more than most movies get from me, especially comedies these days. I'm sorry, they're just not funny. Which makes me really, really, really worried for Keanu, because two of the people I think actually still are funny, Key and Peele, are in a movie. And I am worried. But yeah, going back into the plot, we get the business actually taking over, and we get them all growing closer together as a family, in which they actually start calling it a family, which kind of spooks Melissa McCarthy and makes her go distant again, which makes complete sense. You know, it's an actual character arc. It's her learning to actually, you know, give a crap about something that she wasn't ever given a chance to be a part of as a kid. Which, yeah, a character arc, which is what makes her character so much better than 90% of the ones inside of comedies these days. There was actual thought put into this. She has a starting point and an ending point, and yeah, she's an asshole, but there's reasons for that. And even if you don't agree with them, you understand them, which is what makes Melissa McCarthy's character so good inside of this. Unfortunately, this leads into the liar revealed crap. So through misunderstanding number who the hell is counting at this point inside of this film, Melissa McCarthy thinks that she's about to get double crossed by Kristen Bell, even though Kristen Bell was more angry that Melissa McCarthy is taking control of the business, because when you can't be a part of family, you put yourself into work, and yeah, that kind of thing. So she gets drunk one night and sells the business to evil McDouchebag, played by Peter Dinklage, and just in order to redeem herself after all this turned out to be a lie and a misunderstanding, which you've seen in so many films before, they have to steal the contract before it becomes valid on Monday. So they have to sneak into a building, and as I said, this turns into a heist movie where we get a samurai sword fight from Peter Dinklage, and I'm sorry, you lost me when I said heist. I can't even get to the Peter Dinklage sword fighting, which is just stupid. You think it would be funny, but it's not. It's just sad. It really is. Peter, if you see this, let me just be real with you for a second. You should probably have a very, very long talk with your agent. Because, yes, Tyrion on Game of Thrones, doing serious stuff like that, it's going to make you famous and rich. Doing comedy shit like this in Pixels is going to burn your career. I'm just saying. But yeah, the story is they get the contract back. Melissa McCarthy makes out with Peter Dinklage because they think that's funny. And the movie ends. Blah, blah, blah. Yay, happy fun times. As you can see, there's not really much meat to this movie. And it wasn't very funny. The jokes fall flat because they're all stuttered filled. And the few things that actually did get laughs at me get beat into the ground faster than I can say Daddy's home. So all in all, final verdict, this gets an honest to God, skip it. There's nothing really here worth your time, and frankly speaking, there's much better comedies out there, especially comedies about business people. Hell, I would actually go say that The Wolf of Wall Street was a hell of a lot funnier than this was. So, yeah, go see that. And, yeah, that's it for me. Have you seen The Boss? Tell me what you thought about it in the comments below, and maybe we'll get some healthy discussion going. And as always, if you liked what you see, be sure to hit the subscribe button, like button, and share this with your friends. Be sure to like me on Facebook, follow me on Twitch and Twitter. And, yeah, that's it for me, so I'll see you all next time.